Good morning. How you doing, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is Friday, the 20th of May, 2016. How is everybody doing? You about to start your day, but more importantly, you get ready to roll into your weekend. So how you been? I hope you're doing all right. Sidestepping the negative, grounding your feet, speaking your truth, loving yourself. I hope so. So it's early in the morning, y'all. Some of y'all are just waking up, wiping the crust out of your eyes, running to the bathroom, brushing those pearly whites, getting your mind and body together. And that's good because that's blessed. So you know me. You know I got my coffee. You know I do. Gotta have that bean in the morning, but see, today's my day off. So I wanted to reach out to each and every one of you. And I want to clarify something right now. Because I know some of y'all saying, well, Gerald, it wasn't a couple of videos ago you said that you had some undertaking that you had to do, and these videos would pretty much stop. And you're correct. But let me put some clarity on that because, you know, I make a point to stay in prayer. I have to do it. I have to do it for myself as well as I pray for you. Because I'm a firm believer that someone prayed for me to make it through so that I would get to this point, so that I would have clarity, but more importantly, understand and see my worth. That's right, to understand and see my worth. So, yes, there was going to be some dents that had to be knocked out. There was going to be some rough edges that had to be smoothed out. There were going to be some things that had to be broke off so that my footing was grounded. So, y'all, I started my day early this morning and got my incense burning. I'm burning incense called African Gold. Smells really, 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 really nice. No, I haven't. No, Gerald loves his candles. Got to do that. Got to do that. But this morning I woke up early and my mind was clicking. My mind was on point, and what was placed in my heart is why I put this title out. And it's about spiritual covenants and contracts and how those two things are synonymous, but more importantly, how they affect you. That's right. hmm Because some of y'all, you don't understand what's going on, and it is customary to more or less go with the flow, fake it till you make it, or just bottom line, get in where you fit in. But you still got that void going on. There's still something out of sync. And it's about balance. At the end of the day, no matter where your life takes you, it should always represent inner peace. I know I'm talking to someone. hmm So, with that being said, I prayed and I was conflicted, y'all, because I felt that I've said and obeyed and done what I've done God's will. Now, let's don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm just like you. Only difference is I place God first in everything I do. I'm aware of my existence. Each day I'm learning to respect my temple as well as fortify my boundaries of those who seek access to my life. Did you hear me? Are you feeling me? Like Kendrick Lamar would say. Because there's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to want to have access to you. Some will seek access because of what is visually placed before them. Others may feel a kindred connection or a commonality of viewpoints shared. And then, unfortunately, there are those who can see who you are before you can, and they will try to proverbially steer the ship. And then lastly, there are those who walk and embrace the darkness because they have had an agreement within themselves spiritually, and they must use you. That's right. They already know who you are, and they already know the momentum that you bring, and they must make efforts to delay you. Let's call it for what is worth, y'all. There are those that have an agenda, their sole agenda is to distract you from you. I know I'm talking to someone. So this is Friday, y'all. You're getting ready to roll into your week, your weekend, y'all. I hope that this week it was great. I hope that whatever was your task this week, it found you well, but also those things that may have been challenging, a little stressful. How about a little alarming? That you had the courage to see it and not run away, to not allow this moment to be time stamped by conditioning of fear. Because not every day is going to be a perfect day. Not every day is going to be peaceful. Sometimes you have to do and be exposed to things for your development. How about that spirit? See, look, this is for the intended heart and mind. I know some of y'all are not there yet. Some of y'all have a position of the skeptic, and there are certain words that may ring. That's okay. I was there too. I was there too. But the more I started to invest in Gerald, see, listen to y'all. I've been echoing this for quite some time, and but I also know that I can't make you do or embrace anything because see, I have to. My number one responsibility is myself. So the actions that I take from this moment is going to impact the man I'm destined to be. Dr. Gerald Davis, clinical therapist, spiritual advisor, loving father, and eventually husband. But these are all the seeds we sow, y'all. That's why in the Bible, it's not written that way, but it's always said, you reap what you sow. So it is not only your history, but your education that makes your foundation and how it's interpreted. I know I'm talking to someone. Someone is waking up right now. You've been feeling this in your spirit for quite some time. You tired of you tired of holding out the line now, ain't you? You ready to exhale? Well, that's what Whitney used to say. You realize that the life that you thought was what you made it was nothing but delusion. And see, we as human beings, but spiritual beings first, you don't need for someone else to validate what you feel because we are our own worst critics. I ain't gotta tell you that. You already know that. You get your validation every time you look in the mirror. Uh, yep, yeah, you do. You when you look and analyze and critique, and I wish I could do this and I won't do that, but it's your fear that keeps you stuck. Why? Because of materialism, because of affiliation. What is that materialism and affiliation? How does it make you feel inside? Because see, doesn't matter what you obtain outside your door, it can't get inside you. I know I'm talking to someone. You know why I'm telling you this right now? You know why? Yeah, you. Because you're loved and you're not stupid. Far from it. But we make choices not out of commitment to ourselves. We make it out of convenience. There are some people that don't want to do the work. They want you to do the work and hope that they're not exposed. Let me tell you something. We live in a society now, y'all, that more and more, even though they try to hide it, even though they try, spirituality is being pushed to the forefront. It is. Because guess what? You're going to have to make a decision. And what's going to happen is going to be a spiritual divide. So you can't judge everything that is placed before you. You have to look at the content, not the packaging. I know I'm talking to someone because I know there are people now. And when I convey this, I'm conveying this out of transparency because you deserve it. I'm not telling you anything that I've walked in them shoes. So you deserve to be happy. But guess what? You got to do the work. Ain't nobody going to do your work. If you're tired of hearing the same story, you're already in a mental state where you already feel like, okay, emotionally, I'm coming around that corner, and bam, you hear something that's a trigger, and you say, okay, they ain't sticking around. I need to shut down now to self-preserve my emotional state. But reactionary wise, you sabotage yourself. You automatically throw yourself to the wolves, hoping someone will snag you up to offset the truth. The truth was you was never to been in that situation to begin with. The reality is you acknowledge that, but you're deflecting, not healing. The reflection is the outcome. Because you notice, you know, think about it. Everything that breaks down makes a platform for a breakthrough. If you look at it, if you're willing to look at it, and if you're willing to accept the conditioning to repeat it. I know I'm talking to somebody. There's somebody right now. You said, well, I'm going to give it the old college try. And you've been trying to walk a line. It's only been 90 days. I know I'm talking to somebody. But guess what? You got baggage that I'm not trying to make light of it, but you gotta understand something. To free yourself, you must be vulnerable to yourself. To be vulnerable to yourself, you must be transparent so the healing can come. Think of it this way. If I plant a seed today, I can't go outside my door expecting a big old tree for shade. I have to respect the process. So that also is a reflection of your self-worth. If you just buck wild and all you know is buck wild and that's your norm, and you decide to say, hey, you know what? I can't do this no more. And that's the thing. A lot of people are waking up. Yes, you are. You realizing the lifestyle and the choices that you made was nothing but to feed a void inside you. But what's funny is what comes out your mouth is a contradiction of your behavior. Yes, you're hearing this now, aren't you? Your heart has been telling you this for a long time, but really, your heart is an extension of your spirit. So let's talk about those people. See, a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of people have made a whole lot of money with books, videos, um, seminars, and they dance around truth because they know that at the end of the day, it is about revenue. But what they won't do is tell you the truth. The truth is they need you to function and operate a certain way. And not to linger this, you have to come to understand, y'all, the most important thing about your life is your spirit. Everything else, everything is built off of your spirit and how it's fortified. If it's not fortified, anything and everything can have access to your life. I know I'm talking to somebody. But more importantly, you have to see and understand why the nuances of the things that are infecting your life, how they came to be. They didn't just up and you went to sleep and then bam, that's your reality. No, 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 no. Where you are now is a product of your harvest. Where you are, the harvest is the actions that you did in your past. So everything must come full circle. It has to. You can't escape it. You can't run from it. But people try. People try all the time. Hmm. And to illustrate it, look at the media. They teach us every day that bad behavior is celebrated. You see it all the time. People are so promiscuous, so shallow, and they use their status as justification. But isn't it ironic that when the limelight dims, they all they all go through things, every one of them. Why is that? It's because they either were defining what was a covenant or a contract written on your spirit. That's why I put it that way. You say, well, what's the difference, Gerald? There is no difference. They're both one and the same. They both have an impact on you. But guess what? You determine which one sticks because words have power, y'all. You do understand that. What you think becomes words. Your words fortify thought. Your thought becomes the illustration of your reality. The commonality is the people that see the same viewpoint and the state of mind that you have at that moment. I know I'm talking to someone. You think it's by chance that you're with him? No. Mm-mm. So you got to stop deflecting. And you have to make a conscious decision to see your worth. You're saying, well, Joe, that ain't me. Why am I going through all this pain? Why is this person saying and doing what they do? Because that's a reflection of what's on your spirit. Think of it this way. If you possess a lock, that lock is only have two keys unless it's cut to have more. So guess what? Whoever has the key unlocks you. But see, not to make light, we try to outthink ourselves. We said, well, you know what? If I turn around and do it this way and then I abruptly go that way, nah, ain't no way that. But guess what? How much pain you got to go through before you accept that the devil's real? He's not that person that got a horn, that got horns and that look a red suit and red tail. Devil can look like anything. And guess what? He got minions too. He got a hierarchy too. Because guess what? The end result is they got to keep doing his will or what? They in that lake of fire. And guess what? There's always room. There's always room. And they celebrate when they can attract the impressionable. I do one better. Look at society today compared to where it was 2 years ago. There's so much death. There's so much destruction. So much denial. But the contradiction to that is we are in a technological environment. Everything that you need is found by a keystroke. So it's not hidden. That's how they do. They put everything you need right in front of you, but it's up to you to see it. Think of it this way. If someone is going to do harm to you, they're not going to walk up to you and say, hi, how you doing? I'm here to blow your brains out. No, they're going to catch you when you're sleeping, either physically or psychologically, because it takes courage to speak your truth. And most people are afraid of their truth because unless you are a schizophrenic or a sociopath, which both have no empathy, which means pretty much when it comes to making decisions on what's right or wrong, they can't relate. So these people are pretty much walking vessels or survivalists socially. That's why when they stick a microphone in someone's face and they've done something very traumatic and say, well, why'd you do it? Instantly, they will say no comment. You know why? Because they don't know. They can't understand why their actions were the way they were. Why? Because what you're seeing is the spirit, a spirit that was under attack. So let's talk about contracts. What is the man? Well, how does the scripture go? What is it of a man to inherit the earth by way of losing his soul? You see that play out every day. People are willing to sell themselves for what? Commerce, advancement, having an edge up. But these people have also conditioned themselves to accept the responsibility that comes with it. But the irony is, what is when it's all said and done, they always there's always tragedy behind it. 1 minute they're up, Next minute, they come crashing down. You hear them all the time. Well, you know, I used to be this, I used to be that. I used to rub elbows with them. And when you're going through it, they ain't there. Why? Because it was an illusion. It was an illusion to get you to do and forward the agenda by compromising yourself. I know I'm talking to someone. Do you actually think that all those people, queens, be honest with yourself, do you actually think it was part of your testimony to have slept with all these men? Hmm? The reason why you slept with all those men and had all those experiences was to do one thing, to destroy you, but also show you that love cannot be obtained when you seek it. It must come from within you first. That's why true love is spiritual love. I know I'm talking to someone. But being that we're human beings, we will try to convince ourselves that our behaviors justifies the means. Well, does it justify those bruises that you hide? How about that shame that you've been holding on to? How about that disappointment that she gave? See, when your spirit is vulnerable, you get to see two aspects because you have to make a choice. That's your free will, y'all. You're standing at a crossroad that is going to impact the person you are destined to be. But I know some of y'all are doing time in your mind because you know the reality is you're a prisoner within your own body. The voice doesn't match the intellect and you're in flux. That's why people wear social masks every day. And then the moment when a person's able to see through them, that person runs for the hills because they know that that person knows your truth. You know why they know your truth? Because they're spiritually connected to you. So let's talk about them bonds you got. That's why it's always said, friends are far and few. Why? Because friendships are illustrations of love, protection, upliftment, empowerment. Notice those were all positive words. So look at your circle. Do they represent that? How about what's feeling? How about what you feeling right now? If you're feeling if you're feeling like I can't relate, because that's a reflection of what's found in you. You gotta understand something, y'all. No one can make you do what you don't want to do. You have to sign off somewhere. Just like your friendship should not be a means of barter, nor feel like you're being extorted. Oh, so because I'm giving you this, I have to act, walk, talk a certain way. Women do that a lot. Let me tell you something, queens. If you have a man in your life and he don't have a relationship with God, you know the reason why he's in your life? Because you don't have a relationship with God. So God can't protect you if you don't place him first. And until you place him first, you're not going to come to understand what is being played out before you. You won't understand it. I know I'm talking to somebody. And I'm not making light of it. I'm trying to get you to understand. See, look, the beauty business is a billion industry yearly, right? But guess what? The moment that you decide to go within yourself, you'll actually see how beautiful you are. Your behaviors will start to change. You'll start to look at things and assess things and say, well, you know what? I don't need that because I'm proud of who I am. And you'll make the changes as needed. Maybe that's some of you. That's why some of you right now need more than ever. You just say, I just want to go away. I need time to think. Let me ask you something. What's keeping you from thinking right now? Because what you're feeling is a spiritual shift. That's what you're feeling. But you think in your mind, let me go on that vacation, let me go on that little trip, it'll spawn some type of nostalgia. That's why when you take it upon yourself and you align yourself with someone, that's why cheap carbon copies are really nothing but an abomination to the original. You are the original. So why are you acting, walking, talking like her? Hmm? I'm saying this out of love, y'all. For example, you will never hear Rihanna or Beyonce or whoever puppet out there that the media is bigging up saying, I won't be like you. You know why? They made a conscious decision to love themselves. And the allure is the spirit. Now, granted, let's be honest. A lot of them don't walk with God. So they're being compensated monetarily. And they're gonna have to atone for that later on. And trust and believe everything that was given will be taken away. That's straight off too. hmm That's what that soul contract is about. Now let's go with soul contract. Some of y'all are struggling with this. Some of y'all may be in a position in your life that you have compartmentalized your emotional state, but there's a percentage of your emotions that is tied to someone or something or period of time. And you are multitasking, but if you that is nothing but a means of distraction because you are trying to convince yourself that, well, if I keep staying on this path, those connections will fade. But the problem is they haven't. Now, have they? They haven't. You know it. And guess what? They know it too. But guess what? If God's not in it, guess who else is in it? The devil. So, how you doing? Is this going to be the day that you claim your life back? Or are you going to just get in where you fled in because you're not claiming you? Hmm? I hope it is. I hope today is the day that you're going to stop compartmentalizing your emotional state. Those are your emotions. If you don't respect your emotions, you're basically saying, I don't respect me. That's why I tell queens and you too, queen, and you too, king, stop dumbing down to have people in your circle. Stop. The people that should be in your life should be the ones that have earned the right to protect your heart. I know somebody's saying, well, Gerald, that's too real right there. I ain't there. I'm too young, I can't be talking about protecting my heart and all that because I just want to turn up. But really, you're not turning up. You're getting turned out. because you think it's fun. And you're looking at a perception that you think is boring. But what you need is balance. Come on now. Come on. Maybe that's the reason why your husband hasn't been revealed yet. And trust, believe when I tell you this, he's being made new. He already has your name in his heart. He's, listen, queens, kings, let me tell you something. The person that's going to come into your life will not come into your life until you prepare for them. Society wants to think that the spiritual net is this. So let me throw it back. You think this is going to matter when you get sick? How about a life event occurs? You think this is going to matter because of the size of your backside or what you have between your legs? Or how about what's in your pocket, kings? Or what you drive? Let me tell you something. Your wealth is defined by your spirit. And number two, a real man is a spiritual man. And a spiritual man doesn't wear his wealth. He invests in it. Let it sink in. Because see, what you're seeing right here is a masquerade. These are people that want attention. I'll do one better. Do you think if people knew their self-worth, they would spend so much time on social media hitting the selfie? Look at me. Check me out. When you're spiritually grounded, you ain't got to check because it's there. You know the responsibility to possess you. But when you don't, guess what happens? You get possessed. I know I'm talking to someone. Mhm. So there's somebody out there, I feel your presence. You in a dilemma, and you know you got to speak your truth. And every day that you allow go by, it gets difficult. It gets harder. It gets to a point where what you thought was fun has now made you numb. Now what was fun becomes a chore. Well, Joe, I, I I like going out every Friday night and getting my drink. I get my drink on. I might even indulge in some herb and stuff, and I feel like I'm on cloud nine. But guess what? When the illusion fades, the reality is your responsibilities were still there. They don't go nowhere. You know why they don't go nowhere? Because you got to do the work. You got to do the work. But some people don't want to come that way with you because the fact that they like you impaired. Mm. Remember what I told you? That person that has that agenda against you, they ain't gonna come at you and say, listen, my I want to exploit you. I want to have you do everything that I can fathom, and I'm gonna hold on to this because I know that you're gonna be feeling yourself and try to come off the cuff with me. So I'm gonna have this to remind you of who you really are. Why? Why? A friend won't do that. A friend ain't gonna do that. Mm. The people that love you ain't gonna do that. But you know what they ain't gonna do? One thing's for sure is they're gonna pray that you come through that storm. They've also come to terms that they might not be able to see you come through that storm because that's not part of their path. But another thing that they're not gonna do is they're not gonna watch you put yourself in a coffin. Let that sink in. Mhm. Let that sink in. Because generation now, for those of you that are in your 20s, I spoke this almost a year ago. And know this, I say this out of love. Knowledge means nothing if you don't embrace it. It helps you see the pitfalls so you can sidestep it. Remember the old cliche, if you see somebody in a hole, you can't help them if you jump in? Why? That's wisdom. But understanding how they fell in to begin with is insight. Some things that come in your history are meant for awareness, not to be repeated. You may be seeing something play out in your family lineage. You see it, you know it ain't right. But if you don't speak your truth, guess what? You're going to inherit that. Mhm. For example, if I see a father out there that's disrespecting himself and he's not grounded and he has a son, the son's going to think that his behavior is how he should be. No different. If I had a mother out there that had a daughter and the mother is the Saturday night special, the daughter's going to think that's what the relationship with a man is about. I know I'm talking to someone. You got traits and behaviors that were passed down to you indirectly because of your upbringing, and you thought that that was the norm. But you didn't know that maybe that was the brokenness, that was the fear that was being illustrated the whole time. Why? Because God ain't there. Mhm. So tell me again why you're not beautiful. Tell me again why you're not strong. Tell me again why you're not intelligent. And tell me again why your dreams don't matter. And I'll tell you in return, you don't know you. You don't know you. And kings and queens, let me let you know something. You will never come to see who you are until you hit 35. I know somebody's saying, well, Gerald, I got myself together. I'm mature. I'm independent. Okay. But guess what? Let's look at it like this. The mindset that you have when you were 18 is not the mindset that you have at 25. And the mindset that you have at 25 should not reflect the mindset that you have at 29. And the mindset that you have and when you're 29 should not reflect who you become if you're 35. And that is why so many people lives are cut short. Does it surprise you? You look at the news. What do you see? You see our young getting cut down. Purpose is not able to be blossomed. How about knowledge that will influence those that are going to come behind us? You do realize your legacy is nothing but the tapestry that your generation is going to see, not who you slept with last week. How about who you sleeping with right now? Yeah, just look at them. Do they have the epitome and the definition of the word forever? Only you can define that. But I think some of y'all know that. Some of y'all know. Some of y'all sleep around for sport. But let me tell you something, Queen, because Gerald love you. Gerald got hope for you, my kings. Unfortunately, there is not a manual to teach you how to be a man. That is a road filled with a lot of challenges, but you can make it through. You know why? Because it defines your last name, what you stand for, who you were. Because we're not going to be here forever. We're not. So, with that being said, the company you keep is a direct correlation of your state of mind. So, if they wilding out, if they have a I don't give up attitude, if they put you in harm's way, why they there? Why they there? Why? So I'm gonna bring this home. I'm gonna throw this in there too. Some of y'all are living soul contracts. And a soul contract is the same as a covenant. Only thing's different is that it can be altered at any time. Some of y'all are going through hard experiences because of actions that may have been done in your lineage. Mm-hmm. Something that, remember, your mother and your father have given you 23 chromosomes each to make you the blessing. That's why you have a left and right brain, left and right limb, left and right half. Half is of them, half is of you. Of them. That makes you. You are the blessing. You might not even realize it, that you're going to be the matriarch that's going to change the direction of your family. You might, look, see, we celebrate bad behavior, and the things that should be honored, we let it just die. Devil's a liar. That's why you hear people with boast and say, well, all my families, all my family were gangsters. All my family, they were hustlers. But they'll never speak the truth. Well, all the women in my family, they were Jezebels. No, they'll never say that. They'll never come out and speak the truth because it hurts too much. But it's your responsibility to learn your history. Do you know your history? Hmm? Do you know who you are yet? How do you know you? See, you will never know you until you ground your feet. So guess what? Those blessings that have your name on it, because trust and believe, every prayer that you put up is accounted for. It just depends on when they're returned. Because see, God loves you so much, He ain't gonna give you something so you're gonna squander it. Hmm? He's not gonna do that. That's why when I hear you, Queen, say this, I'm gonna take things in my own hands. I'm gonna go find me a man. And then you get mad, what shows up? Now remember, you signed off on it. You signed off on it the moment it fell from your mouth. You spoke a contract over your life. That's why people come into your life to be either one of two things, a lesson or a blessing. The work is your actions. That's why you got people conflicted now. Don't get, first of all, let me tell you something. Don't get caught up on someone's assets. Don't do that. Because let me tell you what, there's a whole lot of people sitting in places and aligned in places that should not be. Hmm. That's what I told y'all a long time ago. That's why I let the cat out of the bag for a lot of you queens, because some of y'all had turned around and said, well, you know what? I'm gonna put my heart on the shelf and I'm gonna marry for security, but you're suffering. You suffering. You sleeping with a man that don't love you. He got you doing things. Oh yeah. Hmm. And every day you convince yourself, just like you take a swig of that coffee. Okay, I'm gonna make it through this day. I'm gonna make it through. You're dealing with them bruises. You're dealing with that soreness, and you're saying to yourself, "Why won't he love me? Why won't he?" But he treats you like a hooker. Oh yeah, I know I'm talking to someone. You know why he's treating you like a hooker? Because you're not respecting yourself. See, you got to understand something. Where was it? The God said, I need you to go out there and find him. He didn't ask for your permission. He created you. And if you had a connection with God like you should, you would have knew that too. Someone, I got this feeling right now. You dealing with a betrayal right now, ain't you? Ooh, I'm talking to somebody. Your heart is broken right now because the person that you thought they were, they showed you exactly who they were. But here's the epiphany or the revelation. The revelation was they did exactly what you did to someone else. That's why when I understood, listen, the worst thing you could do is betray yourself. That's why cheaters will never admit. They will sacrifice periods of life before they get to a place where they then the breakdown comes, which really is nothing but a dissolvement of a spiritual contract because truth is behind it. The reality is the effects that come from it. That's why when she comes to you, she has no emotion, King. She says, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. There's no connection spiritually. And it's like you're talking to a stranger. Why? Spirit's not there. And if you're intimate with her, it's like a chore. Hmm. Yeah, I know, Queens, you don't like me telling the truth, but it is. I'm telling you the truth because I'm letting you see that you are you're playing yourself. You can't have it both ways. You have to make a choice. Do you want happiness and peace of mind, or do you want uncertainty? Because guess what? You until you decide to make yourself new, that means invest in yourself, heal those wounds, you'll never be at peace. Mm-mm. Some of y'all may be dealing with this too, and I'm gonna wrap this up. You didn't marry somebody, then flat out told you you ain't going nowhere. You want out of this. You want to be out of this marriage. You don't know why you got up in it, and they flat out told you, "I don't care what you say. I will never divorce you." You know why they telling you that? Because they want you to be the living representation of how they feel. So their thing is, if I'm gonna suffer, I'm not gonna do it by myself. Misery loves company. So when you stop playing with yourself, open up your heart, have that conversation with God, guess what? All those mountains will be moved. And they will be too. Hmm. Now ask yourself, you're not worth. Ask yourself, do you deserve to be at peace? Because doing flip flops, reinventing yourself. See, listen, queens, kings, what you don't realize is, guess what? Look back when you started the journey of the behavior that you have now. You've gotten a little older. You're more aware now. Some things you're able to take accountability on. But then there's those that you won't. You won't do it because you know that if you did, you would be exposed not only to them, but to yourself, that you were wrong. That's why you're suffering. That is why things that you're not supposed to have only last a season. I know I'm talking to somebody. If you're at a point now where your conditioning of, because I've done this, I remember the moment that I woke up one night and I was in a stranger's bed, and it scared the hell out of me because I knew nothing of this person. But this person had earned the right to have my body. Not what was found in my pocket, not what I was driving, not who I knew. They had my most sacred prize, me. And I got up, put on every stitch of clothes I had, didn't even look back. I was so ashamed of myself because I knew that that was hell. Come on, Kings. You got you have a child. You have a child with her. You can't deal with her. You keep deflecting. Why did I get with you? But you have a blessing looking like you. Guess what? You have your own burdens you have to heal, but have a responsibility to them. But guess what? That's cheap because in their heart and mind, they think you ain't never going nowhere. And they may have the one up on you. But guess what? They're only going to have the one up on you until you decide to love Gerald. Excuse me, love yourself. Mhm. That's why the more you decide to ground your feet, them burdens will fall off one by one. Hold on a minute. Because they have to. They're going to have to. But they can't until you decide to do the work. So ask yourself this. Is that stolen moment worth the peace of mind? How about the fear that comes with it? You with him, but he married. So right off the jump, you should discredit that everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. But more importantly, his agenda is to teach you to see your worth. Because guess what? He is an illustration of what you don't need. I know that needs to go out to someone because you've been holding on to this relationship, and the more you hold on to it, the more painful it gets. They keep saying, "Yeah, tomorrow. Wait on it. Hold on." That is nothing but a soul contract, which is nothing but a soul tie. So you gotta understand something. Soul ties are not forged with love. Covenants are. Covenants come from your spirit. So if you're in a season of pain, you got soul ties all over you. There's only one way to get those off of you. Acknowledge they exist. Ask God to forgive you for that. Because if you don't, you know what's going to happen? You may be blessed in age, but you know what? It'll be a reflection of your spiritual, of your physical stint, your physical self. You'll look older than you are. Why? Because to the naked eye, a person will be able to see your burdens. Do you understand that a person that is spiritually inclined, they see? You ain't even got to say a word. They see it in you. They know when they know when you're not at peace. And they also know that the desire to be loved. What it boils down to is love. So you got to ask yourself, what am I? Am I an illustration of the Saturday night special? Or am I the epitome of what forever is? I know that needs to go out to somebody. He been blowing up your phone since Wednesday. But really, he sees you as the fantasy. He sees you as the agenda. And guess what? You got free will to put yourself there. But I'm gonna tell you this though, it's gonna cost you more. It's gonna cost you more than time. You think you got them figured out. You think you got her figured out. No, that's nothing but the soul contract luring you in. That's why you say to yourself, it was all good yesterday. I don't understand. She didn't flip on me. What the hell didn't happen? I keep trying to tell you. That's how demons do. Think of it this way. Who in a right mind makes a conscious decision that I'm going to just be with anybody? They more or less are mimicking what a tick or a flea does to an animal. They just latch on. You see that with a lot of celebrities. They always got their little entourage. That's what an entourage is. But don't you realize entourages are nothing but expendable people that do not see their worth? Because if you did, you'd do it yourself without compromising you. So it's Friday, y'all. Make the one conscious decision that you are, for some reason, afraid to. That's to love you. And what did I tell y'all? I told you this will get you in trouble. Some of y'all already know that. They didn't convince you, oh, I ain't gonna tell nobody. I ain't gonna show nobody until you mess up. Social blackmailing is the new thing. Actually, it's not. It's just done in real time. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. When you decide to stop running and ground your feet, your life will change. You know why? Because we're talking about your legacy. We're talking about your testimony. But unfortunately, there are those that you may not even know that you align yourself with that have made a conscious decision to give up on their lives. So guess what? They don't want to be bored and they need you around. You are their entertainment. No, you're not. You never were. It's time for you to love yourself. Have a blessed weekend. Because I know some of y'all, somebody is going to go through something this weekend, and you've had this feeling about it, and you're not crazy. You're not. Your spirit is saying, no, you asked for this truth. I'm going to show you this truth. Now, what you going to do with it? And let me tell you this too. If you think holding a position to have a vengeful spirit or take actions in your hands, it will cost you more. Free yourself. Speak your truth. Place God first. Because until you do, you're doing time. And more importantly, Queens, I hate to tell you this too. The man that you with, he ain't the one. He's just someone that happened to figure you out. This goes for to you, Kings. Because trust me, if you feel a certain kind of way and you won't take her home, you got to ask yourself, why? Because trust when I tell you this, the woman, the queen that will be in your home, she's an extension of you. So if you don't like her behavior or her disposition, it's because she's your mirror. It's time to change it. Be blessed.